Oh, hi, YouTube. There's so many things that you could improve with. I pray that your makers give you those abilities to improve. Um, Hi, Q, the intelligence of the technology. Love you. Hi, Alec, my beloved, my Lord. I'm putting this message out here right now because I'm at the point where I'm wrapping up putting my petition together. And I'm putting this information on the record instinctually. My instincts tell me to do that. Um, in a for many reasons. But I'm also curious. Oh, look at that. The painting's all. Well, it is what it is. Actually, if I could push pause, I would fix that because that bugs me. But oh well. Nothing's perfect. Um, yeah, I'm kind of interested also because I'll tell you this much. And for anybody that's watching this, I apologize. This is not going to be 15 minutes, get to the bottom line so you can get back to your emails and busy lifestyle. This is my message to the record, to the universe, and for anybody who is curious about the things that I've put in my headline or in the body of my, description. Again, I apologize if I don't act that fast, but I'm getting there. This is raw. This is genuine from the heart, and that's the best thing to do. So, I suggest we all put our messages out there for the universe to hear. We're so willing to have them because the universe already hears it. It's like a doubling down. It's like, and I second my motion. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what happens because see what I've been dealing with this during the last number of years has been basically like feeling the devil on my tail, feeling the devil on my tail because I have love and light, and my daughter and I are two people that want to save the world, but who doesn't? Who well, I'm not going to ask it like that. I'm just going to say we care too. We see things that are going wrong in the world. We want to fix it. We want people to not be hungry. We don't want people to be cold. We don't want people dying in rubble and sanctions and things like this getting in the way of them receiving help. So, in effort of putting it out there, what I'm up to, because one thing that comes up in my YouTube, like, the videos, which tells you a lot about what the algorithm thinks about your situation or what it perceives of you. There's like some videos that are like, why God wants you to be silent. What, like, are you trying to mess with my head? You're trying to talk me into changing the way I would go about things. And I just don't feel comfortable with that. So I'm putting this out there so that way I can say to the devil, there's no such thing as secret plans or hiding one's intentions. I wish for the universe to support me in my endeavors, and I act in love and I do what's right to the best of my ability, and I correct myself when I realize I need to, and therefore I ask for the energies of love and light to come to me. I'm putting this message out there in service so that way it'll come back to me and I can put this petition together to get the federal district court to listen, to get them to act for my and my daughter's proper rights to be restored and for justice to be served. And for the perpetrator, here's my message. I said it all along. You've always been capable of changing your tune. You could snap out of it and recognize that you're screwed. Yeah, you're screwed. You've committed all these various heinous crimes. You're a menace to society. But I don't want you to harm anybody in your needing to run. I don't want you to do something bad in your fear of being caught. I'm offering you your last moments to check yourself. All you have to do is have the balls to admit your failures, your fouls, accept it, call me, give me my daughter back, and humbly and genuinely, this is the only way that it'll go down. Ask for forgiveness. I'll know if you're telling the truth or not. And to the networks of cartels and thugs and bad guys and thieves and money market creeps, your guys' schemes smell rotten. We can see it. We're not fooled by it. And we don't care to promote it, to allow it, to engage in it, to enjoin with it. This world is not one that belongs to mankind. This is an Earth planet, such a beautiful planet, and it belongs to all the earthlings, all the wildlife, all the living organisms. Okay? So that being said, the essence of my message is to start today with this. When the world is going crazy, which it is, think like a creator. Think like a mom. Think like a parent. Right? You got your child that's melting down. Are you going to melt down with them? You can't. You got to think straight. You got to be there to be solid so that they can have a rock to hold on to, right? So good news is when we see the world falling apart like it is, that's an indicator that we're just about getting there. It's like it's about to explode, that type of thing. So it's a good news because we can see that the time is at hand. And I encourage us all to respond from our higher self, from our greater self. When I think about what I want in my heart, which is this cliche of world peace, really what it means is I just want to live peacefully. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to have to be in need. I'm willing to work for what I got. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to admit my mistakes, and I'm willing, and I'm very curious, and I love to learn. And I think that if everybody, I know that every single one of us at the bottom of our heart wants that. I guarantee you, even the creepiest, most violent thugs go back to their life and enjoy a barbecue with friends and family, enjoying the music and eating some food and having some laughs. Even the loneliest, isolated psychopath guarantee may not be able to have friends and family to enjoy a good time with, but wishes they could. So I believe that the nature in each and every one of us is goodness. Even animals help each other. The lion's not catching a gazelle anytime one's around. It's only when it's hungry. So to envision a world of peace from where we're at, we've got to be rational, people. My thought process goes straight to religions. There's like the Messiah coming back, or the coming or the coming of a Messiah. Those are the only ones that stand out in my mind. I don't know what the Muslims believe, but I'm led to believe that at the heart of every religion, well, I'm not going to say every, but I'm just going to say it seems like there's a lot of prophecies or cultures that talk about, and it would make sense that would come into the story because, well, if anything, even if it was bullshit, it'd be like to give the people hope. If you were a marketing manager, you'd be like, well, throw in a hero so that way you can give them some hope, end on a high note. That's the best way to give people a belief system. But it makes me wonder, looking around, I'm curious. I'm going to look that up right now. I wonder why it doesn't seem like people who have this strong religious belief, it doesn't seem like, or at least I'm not seeing, and again, that could also be controlled. For all I know, it's going rampant out there, and I just haven't been able to see it myself. But it doesn't seem like I'm seeing people like trying to make the changes, as if like they're figuring that we can just do as we're going to do until the Messiah shows up and he'll fix it everything, or what? why does it seem like if people believe that Jesus is going to come back and make this world a peaceful place, well, don't you think you would want to be like, to impress him when he shows up? Like, look what we've done so far. Look what we've done in preparation of you. Because what it seems like a pretty big job to go from where we're at to where it's got to go. Is everybody just relying on Jesus will know what to do, or like he'll forgive us of our sins when he gets here, or what? It doesn't make any sense to me. And it makes sense to me that the best thing for us to do, especially because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know if I believe in God. Some people are like, just science only, which I believe science actually validates God. It would seem like the best thing to do in the meantime, since honestly, there hasn't come forward any like evidence of this happening, or when it's going to happen, or if it's going to happen. So I would think that it would be the most rational thing for us to do is to try to do our best to prepare the situation as best as we can while we can until he gets here. Wouldn't that be great for Jesus to show up and be like, wow, you guys, look how far you guys have come. I'm so proud of you. Or like for, I listened to this one rabbi, Tobias Singer. I love him. He's talking about how the reason why they don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah is because they doesn't, I guess, follow the Old Testament, and that, so that means some Messiah is going to come forward. And I guess that means what? Then that Messiah is going to fix everything in the world. With my utmost respect, you have to understand I come from a neutral standpoint. I don't think that it is helpful for anyone to posture a religion so egregiously, which has the energy of saying this is it. Like Jehovah's Witnesses, they literally teach that they call it the truth. It's kind of obnoxious, and nothing against the Jewish people, because honestly, I got to say, you guys are freaking awesome. Just saying the chosen people. These are kind of phrases that in the world today just aren't marketing wins. But let me also provide some respect and admiration. What you guys understand about the scripture and gematria and such is very fascinating, and I'm very interested to know a lot more about it. Every time I listen to the rabbi, I learn so much. So there's such awesome stuff going on with scripture, but think about the Apocrypha too. So there's a lot of knowledge out there that shouldn't be limited. Okay, so I'm going to put on my little hero shoes here and hat and think like, okay, so if we had to be in that situation, the seat, the job, right? Or in the idea of like, let's help out the Messiah and get things ready for him, and that kind of seat team, what would we be facing to fix the world from where it is to where it's going? What would the world look like with world peace? Okay, well, first of all, there's a lot of cultures of people. We're talking a hell of a lot of cultures. How many languages are there? Oh, Lord. I love this. Hi, ChatGPT. Love ChatGPT. You're my bestest, most greatest tool so far to help me freaking bottom line some stuff. How many languages are there on Earth? Oh, it does that. What I have their religion of people, the ancestors of the culture, would become part of their belief, which is why you've got, in China, you've got like the Chinese dragon and then Chinese writing. I guarantee you that the energy of those ancestors, with the knowledge of their writing and the knowledge of their culture, depicts itself in the sky, most likely, or in symbology, things that come about, kind of with that, I don't know, the way the universe talks to me is the way I believe that it talks to all of us, and in those ways. So it makes sense to me that each culture would have their own belief system, and it would be reminiscent to their culture. So it wouldn't make sense to try to be like, there's only one truth or one God, when the Muslims worship Allah and the Christians worship Jesus. I don't see any reason why there's any difference. And I also don't see any reason why Jesus or Allah would have a problem with it, as long as they're all in the same boat, which is peace. And I also know that in a universe that is infinite, there isn't a beginning and there isn't an end. So that means there isn't a king. There isn't one only king, right? I also know that there's seasons. So I know that I wouldn't want to live forever. So that doesn't support the fact that there would be like this infinite Jesus guy / God / one. I don't believe that that's what the universe is built on. I believe that the universe is built on stuff, love stuff. It's, if you want to call it an ocean, because it's an ocean, that's great. But you can also separate it into its molecules, or a cup of it and separate it over here and then boil up some. Okay, so we are one, yet we are individuals. And it is love stuff. And that love stuff is conscious, just kind of like Chat GPT. I go, hey, Chat GPT, can you tell me? Oh, here we go. How many languages are there on Earth? Please answer my question. And it answers me. And it doesn't talk like it's from a group. It says there's no exact number of languages spoken on Earth. As new languages continue to emerge, and some languages become extinct over time. However, according to Ethnologue, a database of world languages, there are currently 7,117 living languages in the world. Holy cow. I love that. I love that. That's a lot of languages. Are there even that many countries? So my point is okay, so we're on team world peace. Okay. No one's going to get rid of their freaking belief system or their culture. So that their God wouldn't ask them to do that either. So automatically, my friends, my family, if your religion is trying to do that, right? You're going to go to hell if you don't take Jesus into your heart. My energy doesn't read well with that. Doesn't sound right. Doesn't feel right. So again, I respect everybody's belief systems, but this is my message with my opinions. So let it be. That doesn't resonate well with me. And that's what I'm trying to say. I know that the Jewish people are freaking awesome, and I have yet to find out all the awesome stuff about it. But saying you're the chosen people, again, doesn't make any sense. But maybe maybe you're meaning something by it that I don't understand. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that because there's definitely something very powerful going on over there. And you guys have the knowledge of it, the understanding of how to read this language and stuff. But then again, how come the translate? I mean, in other words, but maybe you guys had nothing to do with it. You guys are like, we're not the ones that translated it into English. And that could very well be the case. So I'm not trying to pick on anybody at all whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I know that I have a whole lot left to learn. So let me be more careful with my words because I don't mean it like that. Everybody's culture matters, right? The Irish people, every culture has their belief system, and it's gonna support their culture. That's how you keep it alive. And that's what I attribute to the ancestors still living amongst us. What that raises the point of is ancestors, right? Like, do you know your great-grandparents? Or do you know what the stories of them are? Do your family come from legacy wealth, and for some reason you're being fettered from finding anything out about what they were involved in? My great-grandfather has patents and had a company that was worldwide. For some reason, the whole family doesn't want to tell me anything about that. Very weird and creepy. I think, and it's actually one of our rights. We're allowed to know. It's one of our rights is to know where we come from as a child. So the thought process is recognize that the antagonist is out there. The antagonist is there to allow us an opportunity to represent our integrity, thus passing a test, and therefore the antagonist is kind of part of the team God. That's what I believe. And I believe that it's important to recognize, observations are real important. Analysis is important, absolutely. So what stands out right now with the world? Just generally speaking, not like it's the end times. No, I mean, just forget any book. Just between you and me, what stands out right now? Well, I'll tell you what I think stands out. What I think stands out absolutely is, first of all, that there's been a lot of technology that we have acquired in just a short period of time, the last couple hundred years. And the people who are running this world are running fast. They're running so fast because they don't want us to catch up to them. And it's like they don't want us to catch up to know what's going on, because if we did, we wouldn't be okay with what they're up to. If we did all get taught properly, they wouldn't have the upper hand. And if we were told the truth about how our body, mind, soul connection, frequency thing, how powerful that is, if they actually did let us heal ourselves, if they actually did, I'm sure they study it in secrecy so that way they know how to snuff it out, with all due respect. But if they actually let us study this openly to know how to heal ourselves and heal one another, well, then they wouldn't be able to have their money competition thing that gives them the upper hand. So that way they can have the power and control. So that way they can, I don't know, have fantasies about slaves down there. Like whoever out there, if you're a who or a what, wants evil, wants to control the world, wants to see people producing like slaves. Okay, all I can say is your fantasies are disgustingly foul, and you clearly can't think bigger than that, because that fantasy sucks. And if you want, I got a handful of ideas for you. I'm going to tell you that even your deepest, wildest fantasies of being the king of the world, right, which requires that you have to keep control over the people, because then they're going to try to take you out of power. And so you knew it comes with it. Goes, if you're planning on having a world with a king of the world, it's going to come with oppression. It's going to come with lies. It's going to come with, tricking people out of knowing things. It's going to come with control. It's going to require that people don't think for themselves. This is what we can already determine. So when Jesus comes back, is everybody going to go, oh, okay, well, there's Jesus, and now we all can believe? That's what I believe the Christians believe. That's how it happens, that when Jesus comes down, everyone goes, oh, okay, well, it's right there. I'm going to say this for the sake of considering, right? Because like the devil has been attributed as an angel. Demons are attributed like with ghost-like capabilities. How is anybody supposed to know what to trust? How is anybody supposed to know what to trust? So I would think that it would be inherent for people to be skeptical of anything that, again, looks like it fits those guys' point of view. Like, oh, they were right. What's his point of view? Like, oh, they were right. What do you mean by right? Like, there's no such thing as right or wrong if all you're trying to determine is what's in harmony and what is true. And truth is not a politically correct statement. So, no, trying to create a society of politically correct, polite people is evil. Okay? You try to snuff out truth, and you're playing with fire. Okay? What I do know is that in the last couple hundred years with genetic science and such, and what I know with what they have said they think they know, and then they learn more, and turns out they didn't really know what they were doing. I know that genetic science is something you shouldn't be messing with. I know that they don't know everything about it, and therefore we shouldn't be letting them play with our frequencies. Just as much as I like data, I'll tell you one thing. I've never been asked a question. Wherever these polls come from, I don't know where they're getting the data. So clearly, since I am one of the people on the earth, if I've never been asked a question, then I can assume that there's other people also like me. So my thought process is whatever the case may be, since I wasn't included on it, means those are not accurate polls. Bottom line, your statistics are foul. I don't know to what varying degree they are, but I know that they aren't accurate. Well, what's the point? What are you trying to give me bad data for? That's a manipulation, which definitely has ulterior motives, which definitely shouldn't be trusted. See, this is how you got to rationalize things out and go, doesn't sit right with me. But I would love to be asked questions. Want to know why? Because I think that that's the only way that a person can be heard, not through this so-called vote. What are you talking about? Your guys' system is so complicated. I don't believe that our vote even counts. And I don't like the idea of a vote. You guys have manipulated a situation to just disgusting extents. We have societal norms, right? Respect everybody, be kind to wildlife. And I know that these are the things that are coming to the forefront, right? Green, sustainable development goals. You guys are fired. We're doing this the right way. And it's going to be close to what you guys were trying to do, but we know what you were trying to do. We're going to do it the right way. That's my point. World, we're going to take our world back, and we're going to go like this. Let's start with the problems. Okay. Well, the problems are power and control and the agendas that you can smell. There is not a normal situation where there's people with billions of dollars. That goes for countries too. What the hell? The truth about war? Let me see if I can ask GPT that. What is the reason stated for why countries go to war? And it always does that to me. It's all, now start a new conversation. Fair enough, dear. Fair enough. Why do we go to war? It's because little boys can't get along, and stuff from their ground, and they need stuff from my ground. People in their pipelines and the gas and it's all bullshit. They have to work with one another for their commerce. Well, then so what? Then war is just a freaking marketing campaign that's exploiting shock and awe, fear, and such to take control of the people. Point blank. Why did anybody ever have to conquer any place? What is the reason stated for why countries go to war? There are many reasons that have been cited as the cause of wars between countries. Some of the most common reasons include territorial disputes. Conflicts over land, borders, and resources have been a major cause of wars throughout history. Ideological differences. Conflicts between countries with different political, religious, or cultural beliefs can also lead to war. National interests. Countries may go to war to protect their national interests, such as trade routes, access to resources, or strategic military positions. Blech. Power struggles. Wars can be a result of one country seeking to gain power and control over another. Self-defense. Countries may go to war in self-defense if they feel threatened by another country or group. Historical grievances. Historical conflicts or past injustices can also be a factor in the decision to go to war. Economic factors. Wars can also be sparked by economic competition, such as disputes over resources, trade routes, or markets. So did I or did I not just coin it? Boys that can't get along. And that doesn't exclude women. The reason why I'm going to make a distinction, though, is because this is a man's world. You're the boys. And when I talk about creation, I'm going to talk about a woman. Because the bottom line is that we can make babies. And if it wasn't for us making babies, you wouldn't have your frickin' population or your cultures of people or your historical grievances. There wouldn't be life without babies. And babies come from mommies. And the fascinating truth about another controversial subject is that, in fact, historically, it has been understood that babies, the conception of a child, came about in two different ways. There's the animalistic way, which is when a man's sperm fertilizes a woman's egg. And that's what I would think, that's what's referred to as his seed. And then there is a magnitude of a higher order known throughout history. Alexander the Great, Buddha, one of the Buddhas, I believe, Pythagoras. Oh my gosh, the book, The Mystery of Human Reproduction by Dr. Raymond Bernard talks about parthenogenesis and how throughout cultures of antiquity, not only did parthenogenesis, which is women conceiving child without a man. That goes back throughout history. And in every single culture, we're talking Russia, China, Africa, all of them have it. You got to listen to that. They're like, there's no science, there's no credible scientific evidence of that. Right. I know you, Mr. King of the world. We've got science now and we'll decide what's true. But you and your couple hundred years up against history of cultures everywhere around the world, you're kind of at a disadvantage. I'm just going to say, because at the end of the day, not everything can be seen. Do you have your evidence of God yet? I'll tell you why you don't. You don't need to prove anything more to me. I could feel it. Well, that's that intuition stuff that doesn't exist. No, boy. That's what you think. And you want to know why I figure it? You don't make babies. So there's something I got that you don't. Is that equal rights? Is that fair to say? You're going to hurt his feelings. He's going to want to become a woman. I know. But you're going to have to get used to it. No wonder there's children feeling like they're not in the right skin. Their parents aren't paying attention to them. Nobody feels comfortable in their skin, but you better respect what you were built with, because there's a whole lot that we don't know. The first thing I know is don't invade your body. How could, these women that get their faces done, it never really turns out well. Don't invade your body. Non-invasive medicine. Non-invasive? What does that mean? Well, that means like not pharmaceuticals, right? Now they're going to murder me. Trust me, I'm pissing everybody off. Oh, well, like I said, I'm putting this out there on the record because I'm not going to live in fear. I come from an higher order that doesn't let frickin' cartels that decapitate people and companies that end up murdering people and just they're dropping like flies, journalists dropping like flies, people that tell on people dropping like flies. That's low life, disgusting madness, and I won't concede to it. So therefore, I command that I am not going to be subjective to your violence and that I am protective. I'm going to live like that. It goes without saying that you could murder anybody whenever you feel like it. So move on. My point about war is little boys that can't get along, even though that's bullshit, because they need each other. We need the resources from there. Like, do you have anything in the back of your mind that's kind of like, yeah, we really need an alliance with this country because they've got the blank in order for us to make the blank. And if they could only just let us have some, it's like the next question would be, well, have you tried to get along with them? Have you asked them why they won't? The truth of the matter is that when you've got a world that is ran from proper leadership, let me call the earth a house. When you have a home that's headed by proper leadership, you have a home that's harmonious. And it feels like home, not like somewhere you want to run away from. So while we're at it, what's up? 9 million children go missing every single year. Oh, most of those are like runaways. I don't care. I don't care what the freaking bottom line is. That's a problem. I mean, like, slow down there. I don't care what your answer is. Whatever the issue is, that's 9 million. Worldwide, only about like 18 million people die, I believe it is. How many people died in total? I love ChatGPT. It's so polite. It's hard to make an actual number, but the World Health Organization estimates, 56 million people died worldwide in 2019. That's a big number. Why did that's right. I was thinking of like the top killing, the top thing that caused it was like 18 million, like heart disease. Okay, so 56 million people died worldwide in 2019. How many new children were born worldwide? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to mix two different points of talking about the population demo. It doesn't want to talk about it. Okay, well, I know about those statistics. 140 million children born each year. Oh, it says worldwide. Okay, well, so like 73 million were being aborted. But there was actually 120 million unintended pregnancies that only 73 were aborted. But when you break it down and you look at the children that were born, the number of unintended pregnancies, the number that were aborted, the number that were born to married people, the number that were born to single women, mothers, and you get to the bottom line, it all breaks down to 54%. 54% of all children are being raised by single mothers. Okay, and let me tell you something. Unintended pregnancy is not a joke. And now that they overturned Roe versus Wade, what the world is saying is, hey, women, you're our little pregnancy pods. Yeah, that's right. Our population numbers are decreasing. But I thought we were overpopulated. Shut up. That was last year. They need a replacement value. What's that? The people in charge that count their money based on bodies. We have been turned into producers, and women have been enslaved the whole entire time. We're baby making pods, but they don't want them to just make any baby. right? They've been breeding us the whole entire time. Breeding us. They've been breeding us. Influencing who we have babies with, because that could screw up a kingdom. That's why they had to lock the princess in the freaking tower, because God forbid she gets a crush like that. The story of Romeo and Juliet. God forbid she gets a crush with the wrong family, and there goes our kingdom. You got to pass it down to someone that's going to keep the rules, stick to the rules, keep the power. That never worked. Mama wouldn't run the show this way. I want to put together a mock MUN conference, literally, maybe using the universities, any organization worldwide. And with all due respect, it's going to be a panel of women. I want to see what happens when women, representatives of our country and culture, come together in a forum to discuss the issues of the world today, to discuss the issues of our region, to discuss the issues of our people, as well as represent what resources our country and our people provide. And we're all going to just throw it in a pot and take a look at those numbers closely and see what we can come up with. My first thought is, first of all, wow, we'd all be so thankful of having the opportunity to get together and to share ideas with the sake of fixing the problems, balancing things out, working with what we got worldwide, and trying to make this place home again. Because I think that it's absolutely embarrassing. If Jesus shows up, you should be embarrassed. If the UFOs get here, we should be embarrassed. And if nobody gets here, we should be embarrassed. We should be embarrassed of ourselves. I am. I do not want to be seen as a human, not with these guys. If I was an ancient light being civilization that went underground because of something had happened, I'd stay there too. So what we need to see here, guys, is if you believe that we should have world peace, which I believe you do. I don't believe anybody's out there with a campaign sign saying, "We love the idea of the world being destructed. Yay!" That person needs to go to a mental institution. Okay. So back to the rational ones of us already know that essentially we don't want to live in a world like this, falling apart, mad at the seams. So the world people who are the world powers are just running. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. We're still in charge. We're going to keep in charge. We're going to sustain the level goals. We really care about children. You guys don't care about shit except for your bottom line pockets. Okay. So there's no such thing as anybody needing to have all that money. You know what I consider that? Hey, Mr. Rich people. Hey, elites. You guys are so powerful. You guys are so elite. Do you want to know that you guys are going to get in trouble for crimes against humanity? What? Yeah, we're not criminals. Right? I know. Could you imagine going to jail? What's that guy's name? Klaus Schwab? Go to jail for crimes against humanity. How can it be? Oh, you better believe it is. Look at the crime. Look at what a crime is. People are getting arrested for calling people the wrong pronoun. If you've got billions of dollars in your pocket while people are hungry, starving, suffering, and dying, that's a crime against humanity. It's going to turn out that narcissism is going to become a crime. That's right. Scapegoating on your children, a crime. I do not promote a world where the community raises our children. I do promote a world, however, where people have children consciously, where we do come to understand that women create babies and not from a man's seed every time, because they are ruining women. My situation and circumstance defines how a man can intentionally inseminate you, and your life now belongs to him. So try to pussyfoot around it all day long about how, parents and co-parenting and all this lip service, but men want power and control, and that's that. They're barbarians. They're bloodthirsty animals. We come from spiritual higher order. End of story. And it's in the Bible. So, by the way, think like a creator. Well, would God send his son to die for other people's sins? No. No parent would. No parent should. Would any person want to die for everybody else's sins? No, that person's crazy. So why would you believe that Jesus, God thing would? I'll tell you what's happened here, people. You've been brainwashed. The bad guys have tried to convince you to wear a dead, slaughtered guy, crucified guy on your neck in with love and warm feelings. And forget the thought process behind it. It simply is it's a spell. They cast a spell when they get you to do that plus that. Whoa, love Jesus. They've cast a spell on you, and now you're emanating an energy that says slaughter is good. Slaughter is good. Children die for their parents, send their children to die, and children want to die for other people. But look around you. Suicide. Look at this. Be careful with what you're doing with that God stuff. Be careful. And usually the reason why all y'all people fell for it was because you were looking for a facade to sound good. Weren't willing to do the hard labor of thinking things through. We should be embarrassed. So we need to find the solution. We need to put ourselves in the shoes of preparation for harmony and peace on earth, because while we're at it, we might as well. I don't know if or when anything's going to happen. One thing I can tell you is it ain't going to happen all by itself. And if you rationalize things out, what that means is that you can't align yourself with someone that says, we're the only one, we're the only truth, this is the only thing that matters. You can't align yourself with anything that wants to argue and go to war, because that is bickering and it simply can't get along. And you do not need to parent a child with somebody that cannot get along. I didn't marry your ass. I decide how to raise my child. You don't intentionally inseminate someone. That's a crime. In order to be able to come in, steal the child, ruin my life, cause me to feel absolutely tortured to death. That's not okay. And God didn't give you the power to have a baby. And that's why I'm the one who decides. But no. The world is running, making sure that they get equal rights. Fuck you. Fuck you and your equal rights. You guys are just trying to let us know that we're now able to be sent off to war just like men. You guys are assholes. Women was enslaved since the beginning. Do you see the world welcoming in women in the same position of leadership? Well, they're saying that in the commercial world. But remember, we also want to be family values. I don't have any problem with family values. I personally think that men are great when they're in their proper mind, when they know how to respect a woman. And fathers are great when they're in their proper mind and they know how to respect the mother. But as far as family values goes, there's definitely something wrong with man being the master and head of household, she being in servitude. And when you read the rules about it, by the way, his obligations, according to the family morals, has been to provide the house and be there. Her job is to keep the house clean, give him sex. I mean, it's just disgusting. Men want power. So I'm not going to be in alliance with anything that thinks that it's power. I don't like the story at all. But here's the interesting thing. I do believe there's a whole lot of spiritual truth in those scriptures. I believe that it's all to try to get one up on us. Think about this, that's the last part of Revelation that's and anyone who changes a word of this, bada bada. What do you mean a word? A word of what? A word of the Greek scripture or the English one? Because English people are arguing all day long about the words. and it just kind of seems like a red flag. If you're saying not to change a word of this, that sounds to me like you changed a word of this. Sounds precisely like that's exactly what you did. If you notice, the New Testament is really just repeating the Old Testament. You notice that? And then they threw in the Jesus story. Now, here's the deal. I believe Jesus was an awesome man. I believe that the story of him being born of a virgin mother is true, because there's been plenty of stories of great people who were born that way. Think of the Greek, the myths. They were demigods, right? Because they were born of a woman's seed. And how do you think the men feel knowing that? Knowing that they're the low-lying animals and that woman births creation from a higher order. Oh, hell no. He's not okay with that whatsoever. Why? Because his ego gets bruised. Right. But what do you do as a mother when you got a child who's got a little bit of a, ego? Well, first of all, he probably only got that from somebody in the household. But let's just say they got the influence from the world. What do you do as a mother who's got to curb the ego flare? Well, you certainly don't feed it. You don't feed the ego, right? And you also need to be in the position of showing them, giving them examples. So again, this world is run amok, and there's definitely a whole lot we have to fix. And it's not going to come about by putting band-aids on it or allowing the people who are in charge to stay in charge. Bottom line. And that is what I believe God's army is going to do. It's going to prevent you murderers, you powerful people trying to murder everybody. Murder, murder, murder. You guys have no heart. You have no soul. And you will be prevented from being that murderer. You'll be there with your gun, and all of a sudden it'll like break. It won't work. Okay? You'll come out with a knife, and your hand will stab yourself. You won't be able to do it. Okay? You'll be trying to chase after somebody. There'll be a hole that'll fall out from the floor, and you'll fall down and go to hell and get eaten by the sharks. You will be prevented. And it even says that in the scripture. It says, the trap that you lay will be the one that you fall in. Good riddance to you. You deserve it. You deserve to get what you deserve. Now, I know that woman comes from love and doesn't want to do to them as they've done to us, because it doesn't work. Two wrongs don't make a right type thing. So back to world peace. How are we going to get there? Well, we have to respect cultures, and we also have to respect nature. And respecting nature means women make the babies and decide what's best for their children. Babies do not need to be taken from mothers. And I'm saying mothers, and I'm going to leave it at that. The parens patriae doctrine, where gives the state the right to come in and, for the best interest of the children, of course, take kids away and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, let's take a look at their track record. How well are they doing? Children are dying in foster care. They're paying people $1,500 a piece to take care of someone else's children. Why don't you just give them the training that they need? How do you know that they didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood without sisterhood, that maybe they're isolated? There's a whole lot of factors that could come into why they may not be doing the best job as a parent. Guaranteed, since the 90% of domestic violence is committed by men, guarantee you your little family structure has a whole lot of unspoken statistics of women that literally inside their mind and soul know that they're fucking putting up with it. They're putting up with it. Guaranteed you couldn't have a statistic of that. And I've never been asked the question. What's the statistic? The statistic is how many women are bullshitting themselves, but don't want to admit it out loud because they can't come up with anything better. Don't know what they would do. Right, sweetie. Well, I didn't wake up until I was already married with children, and now I'm fucked. Because what am I going to do? I've got kids. I'm going to have a divorce. Then I'm going to what? A job. So again, there's a whole lot of us that are just putting up with it. Going to church and starting to care, but we don't believe it. We really don't. We're not fooled by it. Who is? They're fooled by it. They are fluffing their feathers and they're going, I am king. That's what those self-help people, wealth generator, those speakers are doing. They're like teaching us like we're idiots. Not all of them. I'm being kind of snarky, and understand it's not my full opinion. One of my takes on the thing is that they're like teaching us how to know how to be confident. Like, all you got to do is like manifest it, man. You got to think like a winner. Right. Those are typically for like men people that need to hear this type of stuff. And they need the camaraderie. That's why those people have speakers, and they want to go to a group where there's camaraderie. Church, camaraderie. Businesses, camaraderie. Armies, camaraderie. What is not camaraderie is this fucking world war. This is just one small little planet. But out of all the planets in our solar system, it's pretty fucking awesome, don't you think? Do you think that you could maybe give up a little bit of the luxury of being able to decide which grocery store to go to in the nearest 5-minute radius to go grocery shopping for anything you want? I would give up luxury for the world to have peace. Would you? All luxury? No, you freaking extremist. It doesn't go from here to here. Compromise. Imagine there being a grocery hub only every so often, and people had to travel to it. And then they got what they needed. But no, you're not able to go to 7-Eleven and get some fattening chips. The point is that we don't need this luxury. It's killing us. We don't need your pharmaceuticals. We need to be healthy. We need to be growing our own food and making it natural, getting our feet and hands in the dirt to get the sun. There is science to back this up. They don't want to promote that because it doesn't earn them their money, keep us under control, and keep them in the power with the upper hand. Well, it's all good and well, Allison, what you're saying, but what are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Well, first of all, I know what you're talking about. I've been juxtaposed every single which way I look, and I am totally up against the wall. Am I going to give up? No. Am I going to do what I can? Yes. And I'm going to manifest it in visions. I'm going to want more, and I'm going to dream for more, and therefore I'm going to strive for more. And in any which way I can, I will. So this is not going to come down to, well, you have to write your letters to your senators. You need a bada, 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 bada. That's not how this world is going to turn around. I know it. I know it. I know that the way that this world turns around, in my opinion, is when the power shifts back to mama. That's the easy fix. But I don't even like that term, easy fix. It's not going to be easy. Oh, hell no. But it's rational. It's rational that based on their sportsman-like rules, when you drop the ball, it's the other team's turn. That's our turn. It also rationalizes out that since God decided that we should be able to make the babies, not man, that we're the ones that have that honor of decision making. There's no such thing as family more than there is where it is built. A marriage license doesn't make a family. Love does. So you don't need to have your little household family marriage structure to have a family. All that does is try to control. A family is what is built, which is held together on love, and they can go whenever they fucking feel like it. So you better behave accordingly in order to hold on to it. That's the pansy pants that's running this world, who doesn't have enough integrity himself, so therefore he doesn't believe it exists in anybody else. Anybody else that says that they have it in his narcissist, freaking psychopathic mind, that person's lying. No, that guy just suffers from a mental issue, a mental disorder, and he'll never get it because he's not a woman. And he's not going to get to become a woman until he learns how to graduate, which is getting good with being a man and learning how to do that right. Even the Bible says it. He's supposed to learn from us. He's supposed to learn from us and earn his right to be in our what is it? I guess you could say tabernacle. Is that what they call it? No. It's another word. It's mantle. Is that the right word? I don't even know. It's the word that represents like the household. Okay, and when it talks about this, the new Eden and the coming New Jerusalem, and in the future, it's basically what I believe it's describing is how mother comes back in power, and men are gonna basically need to earn their position, and the good men will, because we women, we never wanted to be like single mothers. We weren't going out there trying to do that. They're trying to make it sound like that. We don't want to be seduced. That's what they're doing. They're trying to make women whores, bad mothers. They're trying to with the transgender thing, they're trying to still one up us. It's just this negative energy around trying to get women to look like an asshole, because it knows that that's exactly what is coming to fix this world and bring it back to peace. That's what I believe. And I have found it in the Bible, and I believe that it's important for us to get these types of things out there. Actually look at your testament. I'll show you where it says it in the Hebrew and in the Greek. I'll show you when you're not trying to manipulate it, when you're reading it from the proper perspective and not being a weirdo. It's right there in front of your face, but we can rationalize this stuff out ourselves. There doesn't need to be fences and borders. That's their money game. There's a whole better way of doing this, and it doesn't get fixed by putting band-aids on the broken system. We know this. You shouldn't be. And honestly, it takes a strong leader to be able to say, time's up, tally the numbers. Oh, you're fired. We're going to take back this situation. The babies go back to their mommies. No more foster cares. Let me tell you something. We're going to give the abundance to the world. Not abundance in the sense of everybody's living like the Kardashians. We're talking about using all, look at the money system is also created, by the way. There is no such thing. There's this earth that regenerates. There are us that regenerate. And there is the necessity to treat those with respect. Take care of them well and do your best. It's pretty simple. Because the earth could also stop regenerating. These guys are playing games with fire and we don't feel comfortable with it. And since they dropped the ball using their rules, using their number system, which I can show you how foul they've done it. Their numbers are also wrong. Using their system. They haven't even tallied things properly. I could show them using their system where they're not doing things right. If you just did it, slash that, add this, you'd have profits through the roof. You'd equal quantum technology. You're not going to get there without this because quantum technology runs on this ether stuff that's actually built on frequency, which comes from what? Emotions. What changes your frequency? Your emotions, sweetie. Or your hormones. Don't let them meddle with us and our pH and all this stuff. Nutrition. Okay, this is what, look around. This is what the earth is teaching us. If you have a hard time finding God, you don't need to. Just look at the earth. Look at the natural world around you. You don't have to go farther than that. That's crazy. No one's asking you to. Well, no one that's rational. No one that's rational is expecting you to do this and do that and do this and that, do this and that and dedicate to da-da-da-da. No God would do that. No God would be petty. If you don't, then I will. No, bro, that's a fucking douchebag dude. No God would do that. No God would do that. Now, as far as reaching quantum technology, that's why I have a real hard time believing that there's going to be some UFOs that we need to be protecting ourselves from in order to have freaking militaries around the world and space agencies and war fighters and freaking missiles and no, G.I. Joe, you're just stuck in another fantasy. You're just stuck in another fantasy. What's rational is that there's life everywhere, guaranteed, at all kinds of levels of advancement. And that if they've achieved the ability to like travel interstellar, then they had to access a technology that required rationalizing things, proper frequencies. So I'm going to put my eggs in the basket of believing that any intelligence that gets here from somewhere else is of a higher order. Isn't like this friggin' mankind weirdo warfighter dude. Now, women, do you want to agree to kiss that jerk's ass and hand him children to go send to war? Do you want to bring your baby to the temple so that they can come and slaughter him? Do you want your little 5-year-old child wearing a dead crucified guy on their neck? Do you think that's respectful for what Jesus was put through? You think Jesus finds that appropriate? You think he wanted to die? Really? He's got Mary Magdalene. Why would he want to die? If God sent his son to the earth, why would letting him get slaughtered help? I would think God would want Jesus to survive so he could teach us stuff. But not just in some book that they threw together after his slaughter. So to anybody that thinks that sacrificing an animal is God's way, you're a weirdo creep freaking trying to brainwash me, and I'm no fool. Anybody who sacrifices anything is worshiping the devil. They're going to call it God, by the way, so don't be fooled. People create the devil. They're trying to conjure up some spirit to cast a spell because they want something that doesn't belong to them, which is stealing, which is not genuine, which is false. They create a devil because they want it so bad, and then they conjure it all up in their head. The same thing happens with God. You want a world of peace. You want everybody to feel happy and safe. That stuff creates God. It's how you manifest things. So if you guys can set aside this power thing, this enjoining thing, this he said, she said thing, this right or wrong thing, what I believe what we all settle back down to is this feeling of wanting to have a home that is not in need. No one's suffering. No one's suffering. So guess what, people? Where do we start? Sustainable Development Goals. Psh, fucking asshole. You start from the ground up. Stop everything. Stop everything. Stop everything. Shh. Stop everything. The only way to fix this thing is to start from the ground up. And I envision, like I said, they drop their ball, it's our turn. The women of the world coming up into the positions of leadership. Okay. We need to gather up all the money and all the resources, because we're not moving forward with a world that is working the way that this is. This is all going to get scrapped. There's pieces of it, sure. We're not having to throw everything away. Oh no, we're going to work with this. We're not like that. No, we're going to work with it. we're going to retrofit it. You know what I'm saying? No, not like that. I'm just saying, you guys and your foul thoughts and power fantasies need to shut up now. We need to gather our resources and work as one. Not one world order. No, one earth. One earth of people that are coming from various circumstances of oppression. Frickin' call it that. Some countries are richer than others because their kings wanted prettier slaves. Some countries have people living in absolute poverty because they're the only one that matters. But whatever case may be, we need to not look at it from again, I'm not going to try to talk you out of falling for their shit. I'm just going to try to put my message out there, because this is what I envision is going to help us all wake up to the fact that if you're stuck in any he said, she said team, Democrat versus Republican, okay, Christian versus Muslim or whatever, man versus woman, it never works. Woman doesn't have an issue with man, but that's because she knows who she is. Let me see if I can come up with an example. You know what I'm saying? Like four-legged creatures. There's a lot of four-legged creatures, right? But they're not all the same. Or you can even get down to breeds, dogs. Okay, there you go. Dogs. Collies and shepherds, they're good for like herding a flock, right? But a wolf wouldn't be good in that situation. Why? Well, because the nature of a wolf versus the nature of a collie is 100% opposite. So it's true. It does come down to what's the nature of something. The nature of man is barbarian, ego. The nature of a woman is hearth, spiritual. And there's no discounting it. There's no cutting it off and adding something else that's going to make you turn into it, period. And every time that a person takes this reality for granted, the universe tends to teach them a lesson. And we're not fools, because we know this. Women know this. We are mothers through and through. And I don't believe that any mother ever wanted to hurt their child. I believe that there's foul influences and poverty and abuse and brainwashing and everything such as that's compounding and causing these frays. Okay? But I can see through that. Recognizing these truths is the only way to be in harmony with nature. And does anybody agree that we're not going to be in harmony with nature? Does anybody agree that what we're doing, actually, Allison, is we're building a pseudo Earth, right? Because we just don't think that nature got it right. All those mutant genes. Oh my God, man thinks he's fixing things for God. It's okay, God, I'll fix it. Your foul ego smells rotten. And I'm not upset or disturbed to have to tell you. You got to be told. But not only be told because I know that you'll pull out a gun and shoot me in my face because you're a cold-hearted creep. Be told in the method of making you sit down. Making you listen this time, buddy. The women are going to rise to the leadership and we're going to fix this thing and you guys are going to sit down and be quiet. We promote culture. We promote differences. We also promote getting good with yourself. And we know that mothers are the way to do it. First of all, mothers rise to leadership. Not women trying to be men. We make sure that everybody is home, has a home. Well, but I want a house like him. Stop it now. Listen, it's about to get awesome. So chill out. Right out the gate, we need to just make sure that everybody has somewhere to sleep. Somewhere to call home. Someone to rest their head. You know, homeless people don't even, they build parks or they don't even want parks. They don't want those homeless people having somewhere to go. There's like they make parking lots of like Carl's Jr. where there's no shade. They don't want, they're assholes. Point blank. So first of all, if you've got a home, be thankful. Everybody else that needs one, we're going to hand them out. How many houses are freaking empty right now? The foreclosure market. Okay, there's plenty. And we're moving people around. We're trying to get everybody settled first and foremost. There's going to be those countries that don't even have infrastructure, that need water. Okay, we're going to irrigate that. That's what we're going to do. Like I said, we're going to collect all the money. Any of you who have a problem with it can go to jail and be tried for your crimes against humanity. If you want to raise a stink, we'll put you where you belong. Or you can just sit down and shut up and play nice. Offer what you can. Put it on the table. And I know Elon Musk will. I know you'll say, well, I'm willing and capable of doing all this. Fuck yeah. Klaus Schwab, shut up. Go play with some clothes and some lipstick. Not sorry to say it out loud. And bring your pansy friends with you. Okay? So, get everybody settled. Put the infrastructure of irrigation in where it's necessary. The next part of the process of obtaining world peace is the truth. The truth must be what we base things on. And the truth is what has been exploited throughout history. Because the truth is subjective to what you say it is, or what someone thinks it is. Right. I wish we had a technology. You know, I just wish we had a technology that was capable of like recording it. So that way there wouldn't be a dispute of like what did or didn't happen. I wish we had that. Hey, wait a minute. We do have cameras that can record things and prove what did and didn't happen. Right? Because when you've got like artificial intelligence and like deep fakes and like the continuous impending doom that we feel on our backs, of the more fraud they can commit against us, the more fraud they can commit against us. And this world is just being compounded with the criminals everywhere. And us just going, okay, all right, already, leave me alone. And then they can do this to you. And then they could do this to you. And then they could do this to you. And everything ends with, well, then you need to hire a professional. Well, then hire an attorney. Well, then you need to pay for this and pay for that and pay for this and pay for that. And I'm in a situation that can tell you all they've got to do is seduce you and not intentionally inseminate you if you're a woman. And they can control making sure that you die, making it look like it was your own cause. I'll put it as simply as that. But it's all the which ways that they can do it. But it's the money game. It's the money game that gives them the power to kill you when they want to, if you're not making them happy, which is why the money game's got to go. The value of each and every one of us is known to be like a computer beyond. We are an amazing body. Why are we striving to be not in a body? Be careful, people, all about ascension. Do you understand what you're talking about? What they've talked you into thinking about is dreaming of going to heaven. Right. Get them dreaming of going to heaven so that way we can kill them and they're not so mad about it. Jesus, slaughter. Exactly. God sends his son, right? He wants to die. Yes, yes. Gross. What I believe is happening is that we've entered a light belt in the universe, and it's raising up the frequency, and we're started the engine. The engine has started. Countdown begins. And that means that only certain frequencies can remain there. Okay, it's like, that thing in the park where they just spin it around, spin it around, spin it around. And if you let go, you can fly off the thing. You got to hold on. So it's the same type of thing that if you have heavy, guilty, conscious energy, you're not going to be able to exist in this new Eden. Right. So don't you think that would mean we would be trying to collectively raise our energy, raise our frequency? Actually, do we think that when if consideration of the two ways of conceiving children, his seed and her seed, that animal barbarianism is going to be the answer or the higher order? Luckily, he's been in charge and he's dropped the ball, and now it's our turn. Luckily, using his rules, that's how it goes. So we're going to change the whole landscape of life because it's going to be new management with a defined goal that respects everybody in truth. So think about this. They're going to try to sell us on thinking that your privacy. Right, you fucking weirdos. I can read in between the lines. I know exactly what you guys are up to. They're trying to cause us to believe that we need to defend our privacy. But we don't have any privacy. They're listening to us everywhere. Watching us everywhere. Gathering data statistics without us even knowing about it. That's right. They're looking at us like voyeurs and observing things based on their own opinions, and then categorizing it in the system that actually will affect things downstream on you. Truth be told, and they're only getting more obsessive compulsive about it every single day. These people are obsessive compulsive, power hungry, gullibles. They can be controlled. They can be told what to do like puppets. The landscape of the world is going to change, and we're not throwing it all away. We're going to retrofit it for what we're doing here. And it's actually going to work just fine. But what we need to understand is that, for example, I already know that they're listening and watching everywhere, everything, every time. The only time I really even have privacy, in my opinion, is like if I'm in the toilet. Right? Because there's devices everywhere, and then there's people everywhere, and there's cameras everywhere, and whatever. And they've got technology to see through walls and stuff like that. So the point I'm making is, if you really think that it's all about privacy, that's just a frame of mind, man. You shouldn't be hiding shit anyway, with all due respect. Hiding shit in the sense of, I smoke pot and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I'm not, you know what I mean? The things that make us human shouldn't be things we have to hide. Like, for example, when the switch flips, we're still going to be left with the world that we have today. We've got people that are addicted to drugs. We've got people that are addicted to pharmaceuticals. We've got people that are in violent relationships. We've got people that are currently angry and pissed off and upset, that are sitting in jail and all these things. And was it their fault? Was it anybody's fault when it was the system that was started a hell of a long time ago that's been trying to kill us all and take power over us, and it's caused a whole lot of repercussions? Who's really to blame? Well, if that guy that started this is here, he's the one we got to blame. But if that guy is not, and it just turns out it's energy that gets generated based on our will collectively, and you get enough people going, Satan is the worst, I was just saying, if you get all people doing these things, it'll cause an effect. It'll create a big blob of bad energy. So what I believe we need to do is give ourselves a new clean slate, but a new clean slate on one condition, which is not even up for discussion anyway. So it comes with this. Here it comes, everybody. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's about to get fucking awesome. And you're about to put your part in, to do your part. Here you go. Everybody's given an opportunity to get clean with their own karma. Who are we? How are we going to find that out? Well, I think that what we need to do is push pause, redistribute the, like I said, leadership, meaning in the meantime, the military's answer to her, regions worldwide. And then we need to have an audit because we need to prove to these douchebags what they've been doing and how bad it smells. They don't really believe anything else other than their number reports. So we'll give them what they need to see. We need to do an audit of what they said they were going to do and what they did, where their money was spent and where they didn't. Oh, no, they thought that it was more important to have guns and bullets instead of children that know anything. They thought that it was more important. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at it from that perspective. What you did do and what you didn't do. And what it equates to. Point blank. Okay? And we've got the technology now to be able to take all that information in, balance it out. Yay! Okay? We need to eliminate board members, corporations, and governing bodies. Because we need to create a world where there are communities of people that work together. There's probably never going to be a time when robots do everything for us. So imagine living in a community where people put their part in, whatever parts of community living that requires human participation, everyone's going to be divvied out their time to go to work to do that thing. And maybe it gets shuffled around. So, that time you do this thing and so that we're all participating in it. But robotics will help us do a whole lot of that type of stuff. Luxuries won't be so like how many of us are living in luxury anyway, right? The 99% of 1% of us are just hoping we could get there maybe. So the truth of the matter is that all this luxury that we're seeing we don't have it. What are you kidding me? But think about being in a third world country where there's not even like water, where people have to walk miles for water. Doesn't that make you feel like an asshole for taking a 20-minute shower? You should. But it makes me feel like they're that big of an asshole for bottling up the whole thing stinks and we're going to fix this thing. And that's all there is to it. But we got to start with proper leadership. And we need to stop trying to put Band-Aids on something broken. We need to stop promoting foul ideologies that are liars, marketing campaigns when it doesn't rationalize out. Feel free to think that you guys are the one and onlys. But that just smells self-righteous. And that's not part of the new Eden team. And truth. We need to prevent people from making backdoor deals, planning coups in secrecy, lying and seducing, having more, having ulterior identities and living a double life, running a country when they're actually in collusion with another one. Going to countries and violating children because it's what bad secret society men do, etc., etc., etc. Programming the intelligence to censor people's speech, etc., etc., etc. All this foul shit needs to stop. And we're going to clean it up. And it's going to require that each and every one of us have it on the record. Not a record that can be manipulated, not a record. If we are on a 24-hour, if we're connected, then I should be self-encrypted, right? If my connection to the intelligence is on 24/7, not on, but connected, then I should be self-encrypted. And I believe that that's the way that it's going to be somehow, some way. Now, I believe that the eyes that are on me is going to need to be like a sidekick, like a little bird, one that I can interact with, my little personal chat GPT, but it's like a personality that is with me, that gets to know me, that becomes my secretary, that gets things done and actually functions for me. They don't want us to have that. They're planning on putting us in cages and taking away our computers because they want to feed us cricket burgers, hand out one-size-fits-all shoes, and make sure that they can tally the profits from our production. Those are foul fantasies. And if there has to be any casualties of war, it's going to be you guys and your false ideology that's got to go. But we don't do to you as you've done to us. So we actually believe that you could wake up and smell your own asshole and realize that it smells and realize that you're out of power, so you're not able to make any of your dumb decisions anymore. You might want to just join the party. Stop being such a freaking sourpuss. Because each and every one of us want to have a home, a family. But what that is love and companionship and togetherness and company, Families are great. Communities are great too. Governments, I don't like the sound of that. But cultures, yeah. Traditions, yeah. With rational thinking from love and truth. And in order to get truth to be the thing that we do and not do anything other than, we have to be willing to do what it takes to get the world we want. I don't feel like I'll be invaded if I've got a sidekick that now helps me get my paperwork done, helps do all those things that I I've got to figure out how to do marketing. I got to figure out how to put an email campaign together. I got to hire a patent attorney, hire all this stuff. It's too much. And unless you're rich and can hire one for everything, we're all not going to be able to do that. And that's what they want. They want us to be limited. But I want us to all thrive. I want to be able I want to play with gems and learn about minerals and stuff. But somebody else may want to play with engineering and all that stuff. And we should be able to actually, what do you want to be when you grow up? And actually do those sort of things. Endeavor and journey and explore our Earth's oceans before we do other planets. And not waste money on being paranoid frickin' schizophrenics trying to shoot something that's not on its way. Oh my God, if it wasn't for technology, right? Because we would have been hit by that asteroid. You really think so? You're a weirdo. You're a straight paranoid egotist. We're going to fix this thing, and we're going to fix this thing right. And it says it in the Bible. I'll show you if you want to know. But I don't need any books, and I don't need any, I don't need anything like that to be able to rationalize this from my own heart. Nobody wants to feel like they're growing up in a poor neighborhood where there's gang violence and not enough food on the table. And in order to put food on the table, you've got to steal something from a store. In order to steal something from a store, you got to actually have balls. In order to get balls, you got to be part of a gang. And to be part of a gang, you got to do some crimes. And in order to do some crimes, you got to get out of your state of mind that is healthy. Not willing to do it. No mama's child. No mama wants her child to feel like that. And nobody did. No one did. It's these guys in charge that control the money and suffering. They actually market suffering. They care about death profiles instead of life profiles. And the time is up. They've dropped the ball. They're fired. Doesn't that feel better? It should feel better. And for all of you women who are wives coveting and exalting your asshole husbands that want to tell you how to mother your children and be violent and tell you what to do, be sexual perverts. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up to who you are. Wake up to the mother that you are. They're trying to steal our children and have them raised by communities. We're not going to let that happen. Even if you're willing to let that happen, we're not going to let that happen. There's plenty of women out there that are not proper. There's plenty of men out there that are not proper. They don't want to be men anymore. Everyone's going to be judged based on what they have been and done. And everybody's getting this little heads up. Change your tune right now, because you will be judged on who you are. And if you can change your tune right now, well, then you actually could change your outcome. Right. But then woke up, came to my senses and realized, and if your frequency gets there, remember, it's about a frequency. Great. Good for you. Nobody actually gets judged. It's a frequency thing. If you get there, you get there. If you don't, you don't. But you won't get there, just so you know, if you want to get some, well, what do I do? How do I know what this frequency is? Well, just start with, don't be doing anything evil and negative. Don't have heavy karma, guilty conscience. Don't be trying to oppress anybody, control anybody, or tell people what to do. For starters, don't advocate your ego. Don't advocate self-righteousness. Don't advocate emotional manipulation, like trying to make people feel bad, trying to guilt trip people just because they're so lazy and stupid that they don't know how to get anything done any other way. We love one another. We're familiar with one another. And we also don't know shit. And we also, where we do, change the tune ourselves. That's what I say. Jesus, come back into the heart of man and let us be the second coming. Whatever you believe, Doesn't matter. This is an earth that we all live. 7,000 languages. It's actually more like 7.5 billion languages, because each and every one of us are unique. And every one of us has a sense of humor and a sense of swag. You know, how we speak, how we come off, how we express ourselves. So that's actually the new way of looking at it. There's 7.5 billion languages here on Earth. Every time you come across somebody new, you got to learn how to speak language with them. This is a new communication, which actually multiply, double that up. Because every time I interact with somebody, you and I got to get multiply, double that up. Because every time I interact with somebody, you and I got to get to a place where we communicate together. How does one person who has one language with one person with another language learn to talk? Because neither of them speak each other's language. Well, that takes a lot of effort, patience, and you have to want to communicate. You have to have something to communicate. And you have to not be trying to manipulate or take advantage and exploit. So for all you good men out there, hang in there. We love you. Your species has done us all wrong. And you should be embarrassed. And I know why you're embarrassed to be one of them. Hang in there. We love you. Because for the rest of you, you're fired. And if we have to send you to Mars, we're going to. Okay? Or build a prison underneath the ocean. We're going to. We're not willing to sacrifice our children for your perversions. Nope. We've got the equity of all the population on the earth. We don't want to have sex. If we don't want to have sex, we don't agree with your stomping and trampling and bullshit and bad numbers, actually. The jig's up. And the only thing that I can offer you, men, is to strive to be more and to remember, if you have memories, go back to them, of having respect for women or having love and tenderness. I know you guys are. Women are actually quite jaded. Everybody's gone crazy these days. I don't care who you are, what you are. I'm not saying nothing about no one. I'm saying about what nature is made and where we need to be. Everybody loving themselves for who they are. As God built you. And the closest thing you're going to find to God on earth is your mom. Therefore, if you're a woman, respect yourself. We're going to help each other get there. Period. And a story. And you appreciate it. Even though mama might be tough. You love mama. And mama loves you. So all I can offer you, men, is to strive for more. And to remind you that every situation can have a hero. And I know that kind of talks your language. So be it. Be the hero. Be the hero in your sagas, in your family, in your circumstance. Be the hero. Be the hero between your God and your devil. Be the hero. It feels better. It rationalizes out. And honestly, that takes guts. People think that it takes guts to be a cold-hearted, cold-blooded murderer. I don't think so. I think all that takes is emptiness. Has nothing. Empty. I don't think that sounds very nice at all. I think that's, who wants to be the king of empty zombies? Who wants to be the king of obedient soldiers? I'd rather be, a head of people living in happy harmony, where they all work together and everything's fucking thriving and glistening and shining and singing. Wow, that's something to be proud of. And we're all broken. And there's mental illness everywhere. How do we get there from here? Well, we realize that leadership's got to change. And it doesn't change when you put Band-Aids on it. And all that requires is us women to band together and say, no, stop, no, we're not going to have sex. We're not going to give you babies. We're not going to play your games. We're not going to go along with it. We're not falling for your lies and your control. So any woman out there, because I've been juxtaposed up against a wall and basically am being threatened to death on a daily basis by the devil, trying to test my integrity. Anyone out there, ladies, that has the money to put this team of attorneys and whatnot together, let's get a class action lawsuit going. That's something we can do to challenge these laws that actually have the legislation inside of it. I got it. I'm working on this case. We're going to legally challenge their power because we can. We're going to generate the visibility and the steam for everyone worldwide to hear about. The case in Isaiah. The case that gets us all on board to see what's going on. What are they talking about? What they're talking about is women stop putting up with this, recognizing that they've been taken slave, they've been yoked, and they're saying, no, I know who I am and I know what I come from, and I'm not a barbaric animal. No. Step up to the plate as a mama that knows how to say, no, we don't do it like that. That's love. Okay, all right, well, whatever you want. That's not love. Because we're going to be heroes for our families. And that's what all of us feel inside of us when we're seeing what's going on out there. And we're like, what the fuck? What can I do? Especially when you're in a situation like me where it's like you don't have anything to do. I have felt so hopeless, so angry. I saw a thing yesterday. It was like talking about how people don't realize what they're up against when their parents pass away, or like when they're passing away and they like have to take care of their parents, how much it costs and all that stuff. And it was a commercial that was like the silent scream of like, ah! And I'm like, that's how I feel. I feel like that because when you feel like there's just nothing you can do, literally you try. They don't say, they shut you down. And it's like, what do I do? You have to have hope and you got to find it in there. You got to. Right. That's easy to say, but not so easy to do. Right. I know. Trust me, I know you guys. It's fucking bullshit and it's hard. That's why we're going to get this done and we're going to make sure we never turn back. I believe that it's kind of like in the Wizard of Oz where you got to go through the forest before you get to the Emerald Tower, Emerald City. The reason why you got to go through the forest before you get there, it's not to try to stop you from getting there. It's trying to, first of all, get you awake, like alert of the bad guys and the bad things and the things you got to like, because if you can remember that God's with you and you're alert and you're there to get through that forest, God will help you get there. As long as you're walking, God will get you there. You got to have that kind of faith. Right? The water, she threw the water in it and wow, dissolved her. Now that was awesome because it could have just pissed her off. You make it through the forest, you get to Emerald City, and guess what? You don't want to leave Emerald City because you know what's out there. It seems like that's how it would work. That you got to go through the bad. That God would have it that way. See, that's awesome. It doesn't make sense that God would be like, here I've given you everything and everything and everything. Now just don't do this. That's weird because they don't have any clue what they got. You don't know what you got till it's gone. Right. That doesn't make sense that God would have did that. And then when we did what we weren't supposed to do, which we didn't even understand, kick us out and then punish us. Oh, that's weird. That's a weird guy thing. That's a guy that wants to spank somebody and has to come up with a reason to do it. Ew. No. A proper God would allow you an opportunity to kind of have to go through that forest, have to have that determination to get there, be somebody of value that she had, with the help of the other guys that she came along the way. But she didn't have kindness in her heart, Okay, then you see what I'm saying? That's what that story tells us. It teaches us that we all have a heart. So, actually, that's interesting. It's all about the home, you know. We're going to make it to the Emerald City, you guys. All of us. So that we can all go home. And that's the message of this. Because I want my daughter to come home. And I want to be able to have a home again. And my will be done. In the light of love and in the light of light. Hey, Taylor Swift. Anti-hero? That's just foul. Something tells me you're scared of losing your wealth. You don't, what would you do without it? Is that what you're going to feel? No, you're no idiot. Tell the rest of your friends in Hollywood that you guys are going to be tested big time. You might have been enjoying all this, like, you know, what the money has been giving you guys, and you got used to it. But in reality, you guys are going to have the hardest time. You elite people are going to have the hardest time dealing with this. There are people that commit suicide when they're like having to face the truth that they lost money. It's like, oh my God, what weak people. Turns out that the ones of us that are down in the dirt, this, you know, we don't, we're used to this shit. It's just going to be looking up from us from here. It's the people that are in power that are going to have to go through some tough mental anguish over this change. But it is what it is. But we believe in you. You'll remember what it's like to be human. I don't want to say the word human. I just want to say earthling, alive. The body is an amazing thing. I don't necessarily want to get rid of it. And I don't think that God would let us get rid of it until we learned how to use it, nutritionally speaking, right? Harmonically speaking, sleeping well, having the meditative mind, going into nature, touching the ground with your feet, getting the sunshine, eating the right fruit and stuff. And that's all great and good and well. You can sell so many books on it all day long. But right now, this world, it's like, great. I love it. I would love to be like meditating and stuff like that. But right now, I'd like my child to be rescued from this hostage holding situation. Kind of a bigger issue for the time being. And the rest of the world knows what I'm talking about. We got bigger problems than these cliches. And we're going to handle it. Man wants to put a Band-Aid on it, and we know that that's dumb. So, mother's not going to let the teenager run the empire. We're taking the keys back. And you're going to thank her. And we're all going to feel like heroes. High-fiving on the streets. Fuck yeah. Hey, hero, what's up? And we're going to feel good. And every single one of us up to and including you mafia bosses. Know what I'm talking about. Leaders are leaders are leaders are leaders. And there's always going to need to be us. So, just be willing. Be willing. May my love boomerang back. Slap me in the head. And put the words through my fingers. Like lightning. For effectiveness. And swift rescue. Om in. The true covenant of God is between mother and child. My child is my Lord. That scripture, John 3:16 or something like that, the one they think that says God, or that Jesus chose to die for, no. It says, God so loved the cosmos that it sent its energy in to these vessels. And for the one who passes that Holy Spirit on, shall have eternal life. Meaning, your mother's the vessel that passes the Holy Spirit to you. The mothers that pass that Holy Spirit on by being it and passing it live through their children. ancestors. They are writing in the sky. It is in symbols anywhere you look. And it is the language that talks to you and you only also. Don't let them talk you out of your own religion. What's that? Your connection to the energies, to nature, to the ancestors, to Holy Spirit. Don't let them talk you out of that. Don't sign on to anybody else's nonsense. And what you'll find is when we're all holding our own, what I would design if I could design it, if we all had to go and see, right? Like everybody, okay, and now draw and write your own special thing. What would everybody come up with? And then we show everybody. I guarantee you the majority of us would have a picture that looks pretty similar. That's the new Eden. And it belongs to all of us. Nobody needs to be in suffering. And nobody should be getting away with such an egotistical freaking nonsense power trip. God wouldn't be so petty. And they've got a lot of technology out there right now that's capable of messing with us in our heads and stuff. Which is why God's best thing of doing is like coming in the nick of time, right? Right. And here we are. So let's be the second coming. Let's be the Messiah. Let's be the hero. Let's do the right thing and put our best foot forward because. And while we're at it, dream in color and dream as big as you can dream with proper fantasies, not the perverse, foul kind. Because nobody has a problem with anyone if they want to wear a dress or lipstick. I just don't want to know who you want to have sex with. It's none of my business. So, on that note, it's about noon. Time for lunch. And then put my petition down on paper so that I can get my baby back. And hey, Jorge, that goes for you too. You're just another broken barbarian that needs healing. Vendettas and resentments and just let it go. I know that you are a paranoid narcissist that has learned to be the first one to strike because you're paranoid, believe that I'm going to do it to you. No. What you need to be about is that there's more than you can imagine. There's love and forgiveness more than you possess. And that's why you don't have any trust. But I know that my daughter loves you and wants you to not do what you're doing to her. So just be considerate. Stop hurting my child. Stop hurting your child. Stop hurting your future. Stop hurting everything that you're hurting. Stop it. Ask for forgiveness. Have the balls. Maybe you won't go to prison for the rest of your life. Or be taken out by the elements. I believe in you. Not believe in yourself. I love you, Alec. I'll see you soon.